one of the things that stops us from showing up as our most confident selves is the stories that we have about our own insecurities. Hi, Susie. Thanks for tuning in. But what if instead of looking at our imperfections as weaknesses or limitations, we instead look at them as little gifts from the universe that were meant to open us up and allow us to see certain things in a certain way? What if those little imperfections are actually just guiding us towards who we're meant to become, where we're meant to go, what we're meant to do, how we're meant to show up? And what if these little imperfections are intentional and they're meant to lead us to our own unique purpose? So for example, and as I share my own insecurities about my hearing loss, which some of you may or may not know about, and as I share how I've actually used this idea that I just shared with you to reframe my insecurities so that I could step into my most confident self, I want to invite you guys to think about how you can begin to reframe your own insecurities. And if you feel brave, if you feel comfortable sharing, please do not hesitate to drop what's coming up for you in the comments. All right? So thank you all for tuning in. We are going to get right into it. So I was born with a binaural hearing loss and vision issues. So essentially what that means is I lost hearing in both of my ears. I think it's like a 30% hearing loss in one ear and 20% in the other. And I also can't see without contacts or glasses. So I'm like a hot mess over here, right? So growing up, I flat out refused to wear my hearing aids, okay? And I also didn't like wearing my glasses. So eventually I did get contacts, like what I'm wearing right now. I plan on getting LASIK. That certainly helps. And although I had friends, I still felt very shy and uncomfortable in social situations. Because the thing is, I couldn't hear, right? I had a very hard time following what was happening. I was constantly saying, what, or can you repeat yourself? And I just didn't want to be a burden to other people in conversation. So I would often find myself pretending like I heard the other person or just having no clue what was going on. And that just made me really uncomfortable. So I felt insecure about my hearing loss until after college. And after college, I finally got hearing aids. I was no longer embarrassed, per se, about my hearing issues, but for a number of reasons, I didn't end up wearing them for that long, right? I stopped wearing them entirely at some point. And it just didn't work. So I'm generally a pretty happy, upbeat, optimistic person. But it still took me a really long time to eventually just embrace my hearing loss as a blessing in disguise. All right? And I really hope that by sharing this today with you guys, I can help at least one entrepreneur, one person in my amazing community to reframe your own insecurities, all right, and fall in love with your own imperfection, right? We are going to look at my hearing loss from a completely different angle, from a positive angle. And I'm going to explain to you why I think that my hearing loss is actually a blessing in disguise. And I really hope that this can help at least one person take the thing that they are the most insecure about and learn to look at it as a gift or a blessing that is guiding you towards your soul purpose, okay? So, reason number one why my hearing loss is actually a blessing in disguise is instead of straining to hear the TV when I was a kid, because closed captions were not a thing, I was an avid reader from a young age, right? And through books, I learned to observe, analyze situations, understand people by seeing the world through their eyes, right? So my analytical skills began to form because I learned very young to come to my own conclusions as the stories would unfold. My imagination grew exponentially from all of those weekends curled up on the couch with a good novel. And I have noticed that these skills have followed me into entrepreneurship and into my 9-to-5 career. It's really helped me to just be a much better analytical thinker, somebody who can think on my feet, and somebody who can see things unfolding even before they happen, right? So reason number 2 why I feel my hearing loss was actually a gift is I've always had to pay very, very close attention when people speak. I don't multitask during conversations, ever. And as a result, I have become a better listener. This is something that, being in the corporate world, I can tell you, so many people need to work on. So many people are constantly doing 5 things at once. They aren't paying attention. They aren't really listening. They aren't really focused. And you miss a lot of things. I also see this a lot in entrepreneurship. There's a lot of people that like to multitask, do multiple things at once, and they really don't pay attention during conversations. I've also noticed among my friends, the ones that can hear, not all of them are the best listeners. I love you guys, but I think that because I have such a hard time actually hearing, it's forced me to pay attention in conversation. There was a period in my life where that was hard for me, but whatever, we're moving past that. The third and final thing is that because of my hearing loss, I rely on reading lips, I rely on listening to tone of voice, I rely on assessing facial expressions, and I rely on watching and reading body language when people speak. A lot of people struggle to maintain good eye contact. A lot of people struggle to read nonverbal cues. But for me, because of my hearing loss, this is a survival instinct. I have no choice. I had to learn how to read body language, how to maintain eye contact, how to look people in the face when they're talking, right? So you see what I just did there? I took my hearing loss, the thing that made me so insecure, made me so uncomfortable with being in social situations my entire life, and I just flipped that on its head. And I gave you guys 3 different reasons of why my hearing loss is actually a blessing in disguise. So I want to challenge you guys to take this same idea. I want you to think about your own insecurities. What is the thing that stops you from showing up confidently in social situations? What is the thing that makes you so freaking uncomfortable that it's just on your mind, it's bothering you, even just the thought of going into social situations or talking to people or working with people? What is the one thing that makes you feel like, oh, that's just not for me, I would rather hide, okay? Think about that, and then I want you to think about why that's actually a positive thing. How is that one thing that you're insecure about, how has that benefited you in your life? Why is that actually a gift? All right? Feel free to drop it in the comments. Let me know what's coming through for you, and I'm happy to support you in the comments. So, why am I sharing this? This is just one example of the work that we do inside of Mastering Conversations for Shy Introverts. That is my signature program. I believe that the way that we show up in our conversations is extremely reflective of how we feel about ourselves and our own circumstances, right? And so inside of Mastering Conversations, we do work that goes beyond surface level communication skills. From what I've seen, other conversation and communication coaching programs will talk about conversation skills, but they don't really go beyond the surface, okay? My job, my core purpose within this program is to help my students feel confident as fuck in any room. And to do that, we have got to work on some of the deeply held mental and emotional blocks that go beyond simply mastering conversation skills. All right? So if you are ready to work with a mentor who has been where you are now, as in feeling overlooked, invisible, and like what you say doesn't matter, to becoming somebody who is unafraid to speak her mind in any room, let's have a quick strategy call. So you can book a call via link in my bio. You can DM me the word conversations. At the very least, I promise you will walk away with some simple insights and ideas that you can implement immediately that will have your whole family impressed with your confidence at Thanksgiving. I cannot wait for our call. I cannot wait to get to know you. I can't wait to chat with you. And I cannot wait to show you how freaking incredible You truly are as you are. All right? Mwah. I love you guys. Happy Thanksgiving, and thanks for tuning in.